As you can see, that was an introduction into what an international market looks like, especially for Middle Eastern and Lebanese cultures.
That's right, Bill. Now, we took a journey and went to a Lebanese market. We had a really good time. I hope the food you're currently enjoying is delicious, as well as the coffee. And we'd like to give you some more insight on our personal experience with not only the market itself, but the owner and some of his history.
Enjoy! Well, as you are enjoying your food, we would like to introduce our first recording, which is from the owner of the Cedars Market where we visited and got our information from. The owner's name is Abdul, and in this interview, he is going to describe what it is like to incorporate Lebanese culture and food in the household, and what the food culture in Lebanon itself is like, and how it's not so different from an American food culture.
Correct.
When you sit down at the table, usually the respect is for the elder person between us. Could be the father or the grandfather, and sits at the head of the table. That's just the respect. Like even I gave an example at my house. I have 4 children and my wife. When I sit down at the table, I'm always at the head of the table.
If you go out to a restaurant, does ordering certain foods mean different things?
For instance, give an example.
Our professor was telling us that if you go into some restaurants in countries, what you order will tell whether you side with Hamas or with Israel or with different factions. So I was wondering if that...
No, it doesn't have that.
Okay.
The most popular restaurants in Beirut: Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, McDonald's, Taco Bell.
A lot of Western influence.
All the Western influence. Chinese food, Mexican food. All this food they eat at home. There are some high-class restaurants in Lebanon that you can go get this food and all that. However, it's all the Western restaurants that really is like when I went there and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go to KFC tonight." I'm like, KFC.
Yeah, like what do you
Go eat.
to like have a nice meal?
So we went to KFC. It's right on. It's called the Rashi, which is right on the beach strip, and it's a 2-story. And you went in there, and it's not your order from the register. You have servers that come up to you. They took your order.
Is it KFC though?
Completely different from how it is.
Yeah.
Wow. They come up to you. You order your food. When they bring your chicken, they bring your gloves. See people sitting down with gloves.
As you can tell from that audio, we had a really nice interview with Abdul. He's a very kind man and really smart. I think it's very interesting that the Lebanese food has its own culture, but to be integrated with otherworldly cultures, Mexican, Chinese food, Italian, they're all up and coming and on the rise in Beirut. So that's very interesting, something you wouldn't expect, but now we know.
As Abdul had said, there are a lot of differing cultures and food in Lebanon that you can bring home to the table or go out to eat. But now we are actually going to focus more on what it is like to enjoy food at home in your own Lebanese culture, and how it is brought about in sitting arrangements and
dining styles and the like. So we have here also a part of an interview where he discusses that. So let's take a listen.
I don't think that. When you sit down to eat, is there a prayer before or after? A little something that's said?
We always have to thank God, for the food that He provided us. And then when we finish, we encourage everybody to say, to thank Him again for the food that we just ate. And we try not to waste. We try to teach it. It was taught that not to waste food, because there's a lot of other people that are starving out there. So just eat what you think you can. And if you want seconds, if you're always welcome.
You can go back, but don't pile.
But don't pile it and then throw it away and all that.
Right, that's nice.
And don't frown upon any food that has been put in front of you. You accept it as a blessing.
As we move on from food, we actually had asked Abdul some questions about his religion, and this is part of the interview that we had received from Abdul.
White team.
Is that your religion, I guess?
Muslim.
Muslim,
Yes.
okay.
Sunni, Shia?
Shia.
Okay.
But I prefer when somebody asks me, because the sects being a Sunni, a Shia, or Wahhabi, or Salafi, in the day of the Prophet, there was no Sunni Shia.
Mm-hmm.
When the Prophet preached Islam.
Right.
So I prefer when somebody asks me, I prefer to say just a Muslim.
Right.
Okay.
And a Muslim is somebody who is have peace and wish others to have peace.
Mm-hmm. How it should be. What made you come? What made you come to America?
Well, I was born here,
Okay.
but then my father worked for the government.
Okay.
So we went to Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and I was raised actually in Africa. And then when I finished high school, I came here to further my education.
Okay.
And what part of Africa were you in?
Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Yeah, Sierra Leone.
Very nice.
West Africa.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for watching our video, and we hope to conclude and bring forth some fun facts that we actually learned during our stay at the Cedars Market restaurant. The first thing that we learned from Abdul was that some women in the Lebanese culture have this thing they like to do with coffee cups. In the restaurant, you get coffee cups they're really small. They're like espresso cups.
Mhm.
And once you're finished drinking the coffee, what they like to do is flip over the coffee cup and let the rinds dry, and they would then predict your future from those coffee grounds.
Yes, which was really interesting. Abdul said it was kind of hooey, but he made a point to reference it, and he thought it was something that we should know. Also, we had over 20 minutes of dialogue and sitting and talking with him. We didn't want to fit it all in; it would have been too much. So I'm just going to reiterate other things he might have mentioned that we didn't go into detail about. One of them being, he said the meals are very family oriented. So even when he flies back to visit his friends, they'll have him over for dinner. They'll have all of his family, all of their family there, sitting down, eating, and it's almost like a Thanksgiving every night with 20 plus people. And I mean, it's just very, very comfortable and very kind.
And if you're a friend of the family and they offer you food, you have to eat that
Mhm.
food, or it's considered very disrespectful.
Right.
And speaking on the topic of food, Abdul brought about the notion that once Greece left Lebanon, they actually took all of the food from Lebanon to Greece and decided to make it their staples.
Yeah, right. So, things like the baklava, the grape leaves, and the gyro were all initially Lebanese, and then after the Greeks, before they were Greeks, when they left Lebanon to do their own thing, get their own land, they had taken a lot of the Lebanese food and culture with them to call it their own. So that was kind of cool. He made a point of saying that. And the cedar tree. On the flag, if you notice, the Lebanese flag has a little tree on it. That's the cedar tree because it's very abundant there. That's what a lot of raw material is used to make things out of. So-
Especially ships.
Right, especially
It's,
ships.
it's what a lot of the Greek ships were actually made out of, was the cedar tree.
It's very interesting. So we hope you enjoyed this. I hope the food's good, the coffee's nice, and the friendly conversation to follow. And
Thank you
thank you
very
for
much.
watching our presentation.